Hello dear viewers, I'm back with another video on pronouns. As the title suggests, we are here to practice the pronouns together. Before we do that, I request you all to watch my previous videos on pronouns because that would help to recall the concept and becomes easier for you to solve the sentences given here. We are going to practice 6 kinds of pronouns in this video. They are going to be relative pronouns, indefinite pronouns, reflexive pronouns, possessive pronouns, personal pronouns, and interrogative. These are most important and often used pronouns. Now listen carefully that each of these 6 pronouns consist of 20 sentences. I am going to solve 10 sentences from each of the 6 sections and you are going to solve the remaining 10 sentences. I request you all to pause the video, copy down the 10 sentences from each of the 6 sections and write down the answers to them. I hope that is clear. Now without further ado, let's get started. Now the first category of pronouns we are going to practice here are relative pronouns. You all know what relative pronouns are. In case if you don't, I suggest you to watch my previous videos on pronouns for better understanding. Now relative pronouns are also called as relative conjunctions because they act as conjunctions in the sentences. These relative pronouns join or link 2 sentences. All the pronouns which you see here are relative pronouns. Who, whom, whose, which, where, when, and that. Now a relative pronoun links the antecedent word with the rest of the sentence. It links the word which comes before it with the rest of the sentence. Now let us quickly revise when to use each of these relative pronouns. Let us first look at who and whom. Who and whom both are used to replace the names of people. They are used to replace the noun or pronoun in the sentence. But there is a difference as to when to use who and whom. Who is used to replace the subject in the sentence. Whom is used to replace object in the sentence. Whose is used to talk about the possessions or the ownership of people or animals. Which is used to talk about animals and things. Remember, you should never use which with people. Where is used to replace the names of places. When is used with time, and that is more general. It can be used with people, things, and animals. Now let us look at the first sentence. This is the town dash I spent my childhood. Now in order to understand whether we are talking about subject or object, we have to write down the same sentence in 2 parts. Let me write it for you. This is the town. I spent my childhood in this town. So the sentence here can be written in 2 parts in this way. In the first part of the sentence, this is the town. We know what we are talking about. We know we are talking about a place. Town is name of a place, obviously. In the second part of the sentence, I spent my childhood in this town. We need not repeat the town again because we already know. Hence, we are going to replace the name of the place here, town. Okay. In order to replace the name of the place, we are supposed to use the relative pronoun. This is the town where I spent my child. The second sentence can also be written in 2 parts. This is Alice dash you met last year can be written as this is Alice. You met Alice last year. Now, in the first part, we have already introduced the person, Alice. In the second part, you met Alice last year. You is the subject of the verb met. Everybody knows that you met, but that someone, that's object is Alice here. Hence, we are supposed to replace the object in the sentence. So, we use whom here instead of who. This is Alice whom you met last year. Alice is the object of the verb met. In the third sentence, the people dash live next door are not friendly. Now this sentence can be written again as 2 parts. The people live next door. The people are not friendly. Now in both the sentences, we are repeating the subject people, which is not necessary. Hence we can replace the subject the people with relative pronoun who. The people who live next door are not friendly. In the next sentence, she was loved by the people with dash she worked. Now she was loved by the people. This is one part of the sentence. The other part of the sentence can be she worked with people. She was loved by the people is the first part, and the other part of the sentence is she worked with people. Here in this first part, she is the object of the sentence because she was loved by the people. People are the subject here in this part of the sentence, and she is the object of the verb love. But coming to the second part, she worked with people. She is the subject. She is working with who? People. People in this part is object. Hence, we are not going to replace she here because we already know she worked. We know that she worked. She worked with somebody. Who is that? People. Hence, people here is object and we use whom, not who. She was loved by the people with whom she worked. In the next sentence, the man came first in the 100-meter race, broke the world record. Now the entire sentence is about the same subject, the man. If we break the sentence into two, the man came first in 100-meter, the man broke the world record. Now in both the sentences, man is the subject of the verb. Hence we are supposed to replace the subject. So we use the relative pronoun who and not whom. In the next sentence, do you know the woman dash? Sun is a famous actor. In this sentence, the subject is woman. We are not talking about the sun. Do you know the woman? The woman Sun is a famous actor. Now without repeating the noun the woman, we write whose. Why did we write whose here? Because whose is used to talk about the possession or ownership. Son here belongs to this woman's son. Hence whose is talking about a possession and it is replacing the noun woman. In the next sentence, today I saw the woman dash always helps grandma with her shopping. Now the sentence again is about the woman here. The same sentence can be written in two parts. Today I saw the woman. The woman always helps grandma with her shop. This woman is the subject. Hence we have to write who and not whom. Today I saw the woman who always helps grandma with her shop. Look at that dog. Dash is chasing its own tail. Now how can we write the sentence in two parts? Look at that dog. The dog is chasing its own tail. We all know we are talking about the dog, and the dog itself is the subject of the verb chase. Who is chasing? The dog is chasing. But we cannot write who here. Who is used only with people, I told you. So we can write which. Look at that dog which is chasing its own tail. I remember the gift you gave me dash we were in school. Now this sentence, if we pay attention and read the sentence, it is talking about the time here. How do you link the two sentences? Do you remember the gift you gave me? We were in school. So they are actually talking about the time the gift was given. And that is why we use the relative pronoun when. I remember the gift you gave me when we were in school. Do you remember the restaurant dash we met for the first time? Here the sentence is about the place, restaurant. Hence we need to replace the name of the place with the relative pronoun where. Where is always used to replace the names of the places. I hope you have understood when to use each of these relative pronouns. I have solved 10 sentences for you. I want you all to solve the remaining 10 sentences. Do not forget to break the sentence or write the sentence in two parts to understand what is the subject, what is the object in the sentence. Alright, I know this is going to be slightly complicated, but it's not a big deal if you use your common sense. Alright, let us go to our next section, which is indefinite pronouns. Now, we all know what indefinite pronouns are. Indefinite pronouns are the pronouns which do not refer or do not talk about specific person, place or thing. They refer to things, people, places in a very general way. Okay. Now in the previous video you may have looked at the table where I listed out the singular indefinite pronouns and plural indefinite pronouns. I want you all to go through that table once again to understand which are singular and which are plural and which pronouns can be both singular as well as plural depending on the sentence. Alright, in the first sentence here, there is dash in the clothes basket. It is empty. The pronouns are given here in the brackets. Someone, no one, and nothing. Someone, no one, anyone, all these are used with people. Remember, the indefinite pronouns that end in one, body, these are the pronouns which are used only with people. Do not use this with animals. Here, the sentence is about the clothes. It's about a thing, about a clothes basket. There is dash in the clothes basket. It is empty. You cannot write someone. There can't be someone in the clothes basket. You cannot write no one. What else is left? Nothing. Nothing in the clothes basket. So there is nothing too much to explain about indefinite pronouns. You are supposed to use your common sense, particularly in indefinite pronouns. In the second sentence, T went to Tina's house, but there was dash in. The options are anybody, all, nobody. Now you have to pay attention with the verb. I told you that indefinite pronouns can be singular, plural, and sometimes they can be both. If the indefinite pronoun is singular, it uses singular verb. If the indefinite pronoun is plural, it uses plural verb. Here anybody, nobody, both of these are singular, but all can be either singular or plural. T went to Tina's house, but there was nobody in. Why did we write nobody here? Because anybody is mostly used in negative sentences and questions. You cannot write all because it is not suitable in the sentence here, and nobody is our option. In the next sentence, he sat at the table but didn't have dash to eat. Nothing, anything, something. If we look at the sentence carefully, the sentence is negative because it has not in it. Whenever the sentence is negative, you use the word anything. You're using anything here because food is a thing. You cannot write nothing here because two negatives don't come in a sentence. Did not have nothing is wrong. Did not have something to eat. It does not sound correct. In the next sentence, that's a very easy job, dash can do it. Now if I say somebody, it becomes again limited. If I say both, there has to be two people in the sentence. We are not talking about two people. That's a very easy job. Anyone can do it. Anyone is more larger term compared to somebody. When I say somebody, it means not everybody. In the second sentence, did you ever turn the oven off? I think I can smell dash burning. Now you cannot smell everything burning because obviously the house is not set on fire. Everyone you cannot use because obviously people cannot sit in the oven. The next option is something. You don't know what is exactly burning. That is why you say something. It is referring to a thing in a general way. You don't know what is the thing which is burning in the oven. In the next sentence, dash arrived in good time and the meeting started promptly at 3:30. You cannot write few. Well, few is more towards a negative. Again, you need to use your common sense. You cannot usually start the meeting when there are just few people. Few means nobody, hardly one or two people. You cannot carry out a meeting with one or two people. Now, none arrived in good time. None is negative. The sentence is not negative here. None arrived in good time means when nobody arrives, obviously you cannot carry out a meeting. So, none is also not your option. Everybody is your option. Everybody is singular. Everybody arrived in good time and the meeting started prompt. It is singular indefinite pronoun. Would you like dash to eat? I told you when to use anything. Anything is used with negative sentences and questions. But here, when it comes to food, you cannot write anything because you cannot eat anything. Can you eat eraser, pencil, sharpener? No. This is not grammatically proper. Hence, when it comes to offering food or drinks to someone, you ask, would you like something to eat? Or something to drink. In the next sentence, the shop is closed. Dash has gone home. Now, shop is closed. Do you write somebody has gone home? No. When everybody goes home, it means that the shop is closed. You cannot write anybody. You cannot write somebody because it is grammatically not proper. If dash of them can come, I'll be upset. I hope at least one turn up. Here in this sentence, you need to understand the difference between either and neither. See, either, neither, both of these are singular indefinite pronouns and they use only singular verb. You cannot use are or were with these pronouns. So either is used to pick one of the two options. Either means any one of the two options. Neither means not either. Neither option 1 nor option 2. Neither is opposite of either. Okay, so here in this sentence, if dash of them can come, I'll be upset. I hope at least one turns up. By this sentence, we understand that the person here is expecting somebody to come, is expecting one of them to come. If not, the person will be upset. Let us first understand what is the meaning of either. We can write, if neither of them can come, I'll be upset. Why I'll be upset? Because I'm hoping that one of them should come. If neither of them turns up, I'll be upset. Neither A nor B can come, I'll be upset. Why? Because I hope at least one turns up. Remember, either or neither should be used when there are two options and they always use singular verb. In the next sentence, I'm sorry but I could not get through to dash them. Here could not is negative. You cannot use neither with the negative sentence. Can we write both? I'm sorry but I could not get through to both them. No. Both is used whenever there is and in the sentence. A and B. Hence you cannot use both. What is left? Either. I'm sorry I could not get through to either of them. So I cannot understand any of the two. Either of them here refers to any of them. Let us assume there are two options A, B, and I could not understand either of them because it is negative here. Could not get through any of the two. I hope you have understood how to use indefinite pronouns. All you need to do is to use your common sense. There are not many rules to explain you how to use these indefinite pronouns. Alright. I've solved 10 sentences for you. I want you to solve the rest of the 10 sentences in this section. Moving on to the third section, which is personal. Now you know what personal pronouns are. Personal pronouns used to talk about people. Now personal pronouns, I told you, can be of two types. Subject personal pronouns and object personal pronouns. Now the pronouns which come in the subject's place are subject personal pronouns, which come in the object's place are object personal pronouns. Here in this bracket, I, we, you, he, she, it, they, all these are subject pronouns because they all come in the subject's place or they replace the nouns which are in the subject's place. Me, us, him, her, them, it. All these are object pronouns because they come in the object's place in the sentence. We are going to use the subject and object pronouns and solve these blanks here. Is dash Kevin's sister? We are talking about Kevin's sister. Who are we talking? Kevin's sister. So, who is the subject? Kevin's sister. We have to replace the subject here. Hence, we write is she Kevin's sister. Dash is a wonderful day today. Now, day is not name of a person, hence you write it as it. It is a wonderful day today. Dash are swimming in the pool. We are supposed to use the subject personal pronouns here because we are talking about someone who is swimming, who is doing the action of swimming. So what can we write? We can write we or we can write they. Because here are is used. We cannot write he are or she are, it are. We can either write we are swimming in the pool or they are swimming in. We cannot write me are or them are because we are talking about subject and not object. Dash are very reliable students. Students here are the subject in the sentence. We cannot write them are very reliable students. They are very reliable students. What if dash forgets the book? What if? Can you write they forgets the book? What if it forgets the book? No. What if he forgets the book? What if she forgets the book? Because again we are talking about subject and not object. I want to let dash know they played well. I want to let them know they played very well. Them here, why we are writing them? Because who are we talking about? We are talking about the object them. So when they is put in the object's place, what do we write? Them. Tell dash she is very pretty. Tell her she is very pretty. In the next sentence, she went out with dash. He is Sandra's brother. She went out with him. Now we know that she went out. She is the subject in the sentence. She went out with somebody. Who is that object? Here the hint is given. He is Sandra's brother. So when he is placed in the object's position, it becomes him. Mom and dash washed the windows. Mom and I washed the windows. My friend gave dash a present. My friend here is the subject. She gave someone a present. That can be me. So we have to write the object here. Object pronoun. It can be me, or it can be her, or it can be him. My friend gave a present to me is more suitable because she's my friend. So when I is put in the object's place, what does it become? Me. I have solved 10 sentences here. I want you to solve the remaining 10 sentences in this section. Coming to the next section, which is possessive pronouns. Now you know what possessive means. Possessive means ownership or possession. All these words here, mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, theirs, are possessive pronouns. I, mine. You, yours. We, ours. He, his. Her, hers. It, its. They, theirs. These all here, mine, yours, ours, his, hers, its, theirs, are possessive pronouns. They talk about possession. Remember, you should never use apostrophe with a possessive pronoun. You cannot write your apostrophe s, our apostrophe s. It is wrong. In the first sentence, is this chair your chair? Now, we know we are talking about a chair. We need not repeat the noun once again. So we write, is this chair yours? Because we know. Why have we written yours? Because by seeing your in the sentence, we know that we are asking to the next person. Hence, we have to write yours. Those books are George's and Annie's books. Now, George and Annie together are two people and they can be called as they. George and Annie can be called as they, right? So, what is the possessive pronoun for they? Theirs. So, we can write, those books are theirs. This hat is his hat. Now, again here, we need not repeat the noun hat. This hat is his. This dog is my dog. I need not write dog again. This dog is mine. This office is her office. We know we are talking about an office which belongs to her. This office is hers. These pens are my pens. We know we are talking about possession. Pens which belong to me. These pens are mine. My pencil is broken. Can I borrow? Will you write your pencil? No. Can I borrow yours? You will not repeat the noun pencil again. The bird has broken dash wing. We know whose wing is broken? Bird's wing. Now wing is something which belongs to this bird. Now we cannot use his with the bird because it is an animal. We use its. We have to write here. The bird has broken its wing. The team is missing. The team here refers to a group. So again refers to a group, but it is not plural. It is still singular. Since it is a name of a group, it can be called as it. Although team sounds plural, it is considered as singular, as a group, one group of players. It is missing its captain, or the team is missing its captain. The last sentence, our city has lost half of dash population. Now city is the noun in the sentence, is the subject in the sentence. We can consider it as it. Our city has lost half of its population. Remember, never use apostrophe with possessive pronouns. I've solved 10 sentences in this. I want you to do the remaining 10 sentences in this section of possessive pronouns. Let us move on to the next section, which is reflexive pronouns. Now we all know what reflexive pronouns are. Reflexive pronouns are used when the subject and object both are the same. Or reflexive pronouns are used when the action is reflected back on the subject. That is why we use reflexive, because the action in the sentence will not be received by the object. It will be reflected back to the subject, or subject and object both will be the same in the sentence. Look at these reflexive pronouns here. Myself, yourself, ourselves, himself, itself, herself, themselves, yourselves. In the first sentence, my brother likes to practice his English by talking to. I cannot use myself, I cannot use yourself, ourselves. My brother is a singular and it has to be himself, because he is talking to whom? To himself. Both subject and object are the same person, my brother. In the second sentence, James wasn't careful and he cut dash with a knife. And he cut myself with a knife? No. We know that James is the subject. He wasn't careful, so he cut himself. My sister and I. My sister and I can be understood as we. Yes, you and I, my sister and I, can be understood as we. So let us assume we looked at ourselves in the mirror. Did you enjoy dash at the party last night? Did you enjoy? Now you can be singular as well as plural. Let us assume there is a person standing in front of me. I'll ask, did you enjoy yourself? If there are 10 people in front of me, I'll still ask, did you enjoy yourselves? So both can be used depending on the number of people. Hence, nothing is mentioned here. So we are going to assume that both can be used. Yourself and yourselves. Both are suitable. Cats can get clean by licking themselves. We are talking about cats, can be referred as them, group, hence themselves. My sister dressed herself. She didn't need any help. Did you clean it all by yourself or yourselves? As no information is given about how many people are there. It can be one person or a group. In both the cases we use you. So yourself and yourselves both are possible. Have you ever asked dash, why is the sky blue? Again, you may be one person or 10 people. Hence, yourself and yourselves both are suitable. If you are asking this question to one person who's standing in front of you, you use yourself. Did you ever ask yourself, why is the sky blue? But if there are 10 people, you would ask, have you ever asked yourselves, why is the sky blue? It can be yourself or yourselves. Wow, my brother cooked dinner all by himself. He is the subject and object of the sentence. Why don't we give dash some rest before we leave? Why don't we give ourselves some rest before we leave? I hope you have understood when to use all of these reflexive pronouns. I want you to solve the remaining. At the last section is interrogative pronouns. Interrogative means to question or to inquire. All the pronouns given in the bracket here are interrogative. What, which, who, whom, whose. So what is used to ask a question? What is used when you have numerous options? What is your name? What is your favorite color? Because colors can be numerous. Names also can be numerous. Which is used when there are limited options, maybe 1 or 2 or 5. Countable. Who is used with people. If you're asking about the subject, you use who. If you ask about the object, you use whom. Whose is used to ask about the possession or the ownership. Look at the first sentence. Dash of the 2 books is your favorite. You cannot write what of the 2 books because what is used with numerous options. We know we are talking about 2 books, which means the option is limited. You cannot use who and whom because these 2 are used with people. You cannot use whose either because again it is used with people's possession. You have to use which interrogative pronoun? Which of the two books is your favorite? Dash is the president of India. You cannot ask which is the president of India, which is not used with people. You cannot write whom is the president of India. Who is the president of India? Because we are asking about the subject president. Dash has left the keys on the table. Whom has left the keys on the table is not proper. Who has left the keys on table is the right answer, because who is the subject of the verb left. Somebody has left, hence we have to use who. Dash is this umbrella. We cannot ask who is this umbrella. Umbrella is not a person. Whom is this umbrella is also not correct. Which is this umbrella is also not the proper option. Whose is this umbrella? We are asking about possession. Whom does this umbrella belong to? Dash is he talking to? Now we know that he is talking. He is the subject. He is talking to someone. That person is the object. We are asking about object of the sentence. What we have to use? Whom. Whom is he talking to? In the next sentence, Dash is your dog's name. We are asking about a dog's name. Now names can be multiple, numerous. Hence we use what always when we ask about names. Dash of these bags is yours. Now these bags, the bags which are lying close to you, which of these bags? Because they are limited. Dash are those people. You're asking about the people. People are the subject here. Who are those people? Who is the subject of the helping verb are? Who are those people? Dash is he teaching to? Now he is teaching to someone. Now that someone here is the object. Hence we can write whom here. Whom is he teaching? Dash, did he deliver the package? Now we know he delivered the package, but he delivered that package to someone. So we can write whom did he deliver that package, because we are talking about the object. He here is the subject. He is delivering something to someone. I hope the concept of interrogative pronouns is clear. I have solved 10 sentences. I want you to solve the remaining 10. And if you have any doubts, please go back and watch the previous videos. And I hope everybody is going to practice the given sentences. I hope this video was interesting and useful. In the upcoming videos, we shall look at adjectives. Until then, goodbye and take care.